Tenig and Mrs. Yolandri. We write in different genres. Yolandri writes poetry and I'm a journalist, but one thing we have in common is that each of us has a brother.
So we decided to write essays about our brothers and how we feel about them. Our brothers are both here today. My older brother's name is Ramon. He's quite the dancer at any party. My mom made him dance a few times around the living room when something Spanish is on the stair bill, which my brother convinced her to lie. That's another thing. My brother is very good at being persuasive. When we were about 3 or 4 years of age, we played together, but we never had a bond. In a typical day, we never said as much as 5 sentences to each other, unless we were arguing. Last summer, when he was 16, Children's Arts and Science Workshop took my brother out for a trip when I needed him the most, while my mother was in the hospital. The only person I felt like calling was my brother, not my father nor my godmother. And I did get a hold of him, but not until the day my mom was due home. The next day, my brother was home and everything was back to normal. My best friend Celia told me a few days later that when she called the house, my brother picked up. Before he went to find me, he told Celia, "Thanks for taking care of my sister." I remember laughing so hard when she first told me, because it certainly didn't sound like something Ramon would tell her. Now instead of laughing, I tear up. That's when I realized that the light to my brother's eyes is my mother, and my mother means the world to me. I always thought I was self-sufficient, but I learned I'm not, because more than anything, I needed my brother right by my side. With money, you can't get anywhere. If you don't have a place to stay, you're messed up. And if you have no one by your side, you lack common sense. The fact that I needed my brother made me think and analyze. Celia told me that the person whom I fight with the most, I needed. This helped me realize that beneath his school grade and stupid comments, he has knowledge. I'm thankful that I have a brother who's slightly amazing.
He was just outside of range, like a housefly, who would buzz into my line of sight every now and then and make me want to swat him away. But I never swatted, of course. He was my kid brother, and I was a good girl. Our mother's favorite expression was, "Brothers and sisters are the closest thing in the world." But I didn't feel especially close to Paul, who was 3 years younger than I. He dashed around the house, made lots of noise, cried when I took a bite of his sandwich from the wrong end. His nose was constantly stuffed up, and he made gross noises when he exhaled. Even his breathing annoyed me. The truth is, though, I was pretty annoying myself. It became my mission to teach Paul how to grow up to be a good man. In high school, I took him to see a new movie, Charlie, based on one of his favorite books. Afterward, we went out to dinner, and I showed him how to put a girl's coat on for her, just in case he ever went out on a date. My mission was a futile one, in the way all such missions are. People will become what they will become, no matter how much we try to mold them. Luckily, Paul became a good man on his own, a loyal husband, a fiercely loving father, a devoted son. And a brother I could rely on, as I did the July evening several years ago when he called me from his car phone. He said our father seemed to have had some sort of event, maybe a heart attack, and was being taken to the hospital. My mother had called Paul while he was driving home from work, and she said she would call him back from the hospital to tell him what was going on. Paul had pulled to the side of the road to call me, but first he found himself sobbing and had to wait until it passed before he dialed. "Do you think he'll be okay?" I asked. "I don't know," said my brother. "I think he might already be dead." I paced my kitchen for what seemed like hours, waiting for the next phone call. Paul was right. Dad was already dead when our mother had first phoned Paul. But she had wanted to tell us this way, in stages, before we had to hear the grim and final truth. By calling Paul first and asking him to call me, she had also concocted the next series of events, that it was Paul who told me, in his deep, familiar voice, that our father was dead. Paul with whom I talked about what that meant for us and for our mother. Stripped of a piece of our childhoods, holding fast to each other like Hansel and Gretel, my brother and I that night began the hard task of figuring out where to go next in the unforgiving forest.